So why is there so much focus on benefit cheats and not on corporations not paying enough tax? Owen.
Very good question. Look, we have...
Glad you approve.
We have... we have Benefit Street, we don't have Tax Dodger Street, and we don't have Banker Street either. And what we've ended up, because of that...
Could we pitch them?
Because of that, we've ended up in this country with this idea that all the problems we have are because of our neighbours down the streets, rather than the powerful who actually run our societies. Let's think about the fact that, you know, we talk about benefit claimants, as this talks about. Our financial industry, it wasn't bailed out by free market dogma, it was bailed out by the state. It became the most lavished benefit claimant in Britain. They carried on paying more bonuses than all other EU countries put together. The government took the EU to court to stop them capping bonuses, more salaries than ever, not lending to small businesses. Very few conditions, but huge state support. Contrast that to benefit claimants. In the last 18 months, over 1 million have been benefit sanctioned. That means their benefits are stopped as a punishment for not, you know, kind of doing what you're supposed to do to get benefits. I'll give you an example. A 60-year-old army veteran in Manchester selling poppies for the Royal Legion. Now, he was trying hard to find work, including in the supermarket he was selling poppies at. He had his benefits stopped for 3 weeks. Do you know why? Because the fact he was volunteering for the Royal Legion showed he wasn't looking hard enough to get for work. That shows one rule for them at the top, one rule for everybody else. The financial sector...
Do you agree with that, Harriet?
I find myself agreeing partly with Owen.
Let's not make a how about it.
Yeah. No, talk about the part that you don't agree with.
No, but I actually, my attitude towards this is summed up by this gang, South London gang I befriended. And the gang leader said to me, there's, you know, everyone's got a scam going, he said, but only us do jail time. And that is so true in this country. I mean, this country, class decides who goes to jail and who doesn't. Yeah. And unfortunately, if you're in the top of the class, if you're the bankers or whatever, I mean, when the LIBOR scandal came out, I was told that was going to be a big thing by a bank of friends. People were going to be marched off, handcuffed like they do in the States, and do the perp walk out of the office in handcuffs. Did that happen? Not at all. Well, not for once.
To prove your point, if you think about it, the subprime crisis led to the credit crunch, which led to the financial crisis, which led to the Great Recession, which led to the sovereign debt crisis, which led to the Eurozone crisis, and those AAA ratings the credit agents were giving, they've got away scot-free. The bankers, they've got away scot-free. Have we learned the lessons? Absolutely not.
OK. Gentleman up here.
Yeah, I suppose the real answer to the question is the fact that the people that own the media outlets and make the programmes have the most to gain by the fact that people's anger gets deflected away from a wealthy elite and towards poor people down the road. So there's no coincidence they're not going to make programmes that are going to weaken their position in the country.
Sure.
I was pretty much going to say that, but we've got to think about who is the one paying for the programmes, who is controlling the media, and that also fuels our arguments that we have on a daily basis, and we feel like we can't get our arguments to the people who can make the difference.
OK. Gentleman here.
Is it just because people actually like to watch techie TV like Benefit Street and wouldn't necessarily be interested in something, say if a banker had been done for some sort of scandal, it wouldn't have the same effect on the public who would watch the programme?
Possibly.
I think it would be a bit more boring, wouldn't it, to watch a man in a grey suit behind a computer screen fiddling around with his spreadsheet than somebody on banners.
I don't agree with that. I think
it's arguably more interesting television.
I think if you had a programme about people dodging taxes whilst the rest of us have to pay ours, about bankers who plunge into economic disaster, of course you would. But that point you made over there, those 2 points, of course it's key. The media is run by a very small group of rich people who have every reason to make sure the spotlight isn't on them and it's on those at the bottom. No wonder then, according to the polls, Britons on average think 27% is lost through benefit fraud. But the real figure is 0.7%. But if you have programme after programme after programme hunting down the most extreme and unrepresentative people, guaranteed to make people's blood boil, you'll end up with that, and you end up with neighbour turning against neighbour rather than holding those with power to account. So that's why we have to change it.
Yeah, actually picking up on those figures, Owen, Derek's got in touch and he's talking about the misconception about some of the numbers. Like you say, 0.7% of the benefits budgets claimed fraudulently. I think those figures apply to 2011 to 12, whereas corporations and banks avoid around 100 billion a year in tax and get away with it because they're the ones donating to political parties and giving ex-politicians high-paying retirement jobs. This for you, Owen. Karen, great idea, Owen. We want tax dodgers straight on the telly.
Let's do it.
If anyone's
Maybe you
watching
could produce
BBC
it.
Three,
Yeah, very happy to do that. Very happy.
There you go, we've got programme.
Yeah, gentleman up here, and I'll waive my fee.
Thanks. I just want to start because it was something that has been picked up on already, that very little is going to get done in this country when we give so many votes to a Conservative Party who is almost bankrolled by big business. And so it's all their buddies who are getting off scot-free, as Lord Billamorria put it. So if we're putting our trust in them all the time, then nothing's ever going to get done on that front. But frankly, if UKIP think they're going to do any better on it when they're being bankrolled by millionaires as well,
Tory donors
I think they're exactly ex-Tory donors who are disinterested. I'm going to UKIP. I think UKIP have got another thing coming.
If you think the Labour Party doesn't get any money from big businesses and big donors, then you've not...
I'm not saying about the Labour Party.
And the trade unions.
For the record,
how many billions
for the record, I don't
do they
agree with the
hand
money
over?
that Labour get from the trade unions either. But that said, I think that when UKIP try and paint themselves as this new anti-establishment, oh, we're not like the rest of the party, when actually you're getting just as much money from people who run big businesses
we
and get a lot
a
of money.
fraction. We get a fraction of what the other parties get. We get
You get £1 million from like £1 million is a fraction
I'm
to
sure
you.
he's got 26
you two aren't going to get on. Let's go to this lady here.
26 billion.
I think as a culture, benefits bashing needs to stop. We need to remember why we've got benefits in place. It is a safety net for our most vulnerable in society. The fact that we beat down on them constantly, and I've been in that position, incapacity benefits, looking for a job that suits my needs. It was horrible. I just felt awful the entire time I was on it, and that's not what we need to do to those people in society who need our help most.
Yeah, lady here.
I just don't understand how we're meant to change this, like how we're meant to stop benefits bashing. Like you said earlier about how we change this, but is it through education? Are you just meant to grow up and learn?
I think it is partly education. It's partly actually giving a platform to people who can actually talk in their own words about it on TV. So, look, most social security spending goes on pensioners who've paid in all their lives. We've got millions of working age people claiming in-work benefits because they can't afford to get by on the poverty wages they're given. So I saw something flash up, let's take on the benefits culture. Fine. Let's have a living wage so we don't spend billions on tax credits. Let's let councils build housing instead of subsidising private landlords with housing benefit. The reason we have social security spending is going up under this government, despite all these cuts they keep proposing, because people's wages are going down, so they can't afford to live or to pay their rent. And if we deal with that and actually increase people's wages, then we'll stop spending less on benefits.
Yeah, is that the answer? Increase wages?
Well, one thing we've also got to get everything into perspective as well. There's also a lot of business bashing. And what people have got to realise, that it is business that creates the jobs, that pay the taxes, that pay for the welfare that everyone benefits from.
I mean, let's not forget, it's not a crime to be rich, and it's not a crime to be poor. But it is a crime to cheat your benefits, and it is a crime not to pay your taxes. And actually, in a sense, these two have been shoved together in the same debate, but they're actually separate issues.
No. Look,
so
we have a problem at the moment with the count. Go on.
So we need to, obviously, you know, taxpayers' money, if it's going into benefit fraud, nobody wants that. But big businesses must pay their taxes as well. And one of the things that UKIP is setting up a think tank to look at is whether, because these taxes are big companies are avoiding paying any corporation tax because they say they've made no profit. So we're looking into whether or not we can tax their turnover so they can't escape. So we're looking at it at both ends of the social spectrum.
You want to reduce taxes on
turnover.
big business, but
that is the worst idea.
No, hang on. Turnover, I agree, because turnover can be incredibly high, whereas profits can be incredibly low. But we're talking about businesses that we know are engaging in tax avoidance, so they have a choice.
Could we just actually discuss whether benefits at work, whether they're a good thing? Because certainly when I was trying to help this South London gang, I found that benefits was a trap that stopped them getting on and doing anything. And that, you know, we just think we give little people little dribbles of money and that's going to keep them happy and that's somehow humane. It's not.
Well,
It's
when I was claiming,
I had
Harriet,
numbers of young men saying,
anything.
you know, that they were passionate for jobs, they passionately wanted jobs, but they were stopped by benefits.
Can I just say on part...
That is the opposite of what benefits should be doing. It should be helping people. Beveridge wanted benefits to help people for a time, be a springboard into getting back into life again.
Just on the tax avoidance point, at the moment what we have are accountancy firms who go to the Treasury, help draw up the tax laws and then tell their clients how to avoid the taxes. Imagine benefit claimants went to the Department of Work and Pensions and drew up the social security legislation. We've got to turf these people out. It's a conflict of interest and stop having tax avoiders helping to write our law and then help their businesses avoid tax. It doesn't make any sense.
OK. Tina?
Yeah, interesting comments coming in again. Two of the big themes seem to be around money and class. Buffs 1973 says, we bail out banks, poverty prevails, the rich rule over the poor, we fund one family and hangers-on. Captain says, JW, upper class tell the middle class that the lower class are to blame. And again, we're getting into figures. 50% of the welfare budget goes on pensioners and those in work, but we want to give the illusion they're all work shy. People are work shy.